Welcome to New Scientist TV. This month we look at different ways to walk on water. We also check out an exhibit that examines the concept of identity. But first, we visit a company that's spicing up greetings cards and toys. Sandrine Kirstemont takes up the story from Cambridge in the UK.
Thanks to some cutting-edge technology, greeting cards are becoming interactive games. Dr. Kate Stone and her team are developing printed electronics that people can communicate with.
When you touch the text or graphics, the printed thing either talks to you, makes something else happen, makes you think about what's happened, and then you touch it again and you interact with it in some way and get a two-way dialogue.
The artwork and the electronic circuit are designed together. Lines in the design represent where the circuit will run.
We do line art and we put cuts in the line art and let the circuit just find its way through the piece of art. So it's kind of the opposite way around to what you'd normally expect to do.
You might also expect the circuit to be made of wires, but it's actually printed with conductive ink. When the ink dries, it leaves behind particles like silver or carbon that conduct electricity.
And the printers print the object, and the circuit board's made, programmed up, and then everything comes back together. So we take the print, we take the electronics, and we just stick the two together.
The result is thin and flexible electronics. But Stone wants to make her creations even flatter.
Although our widget's the size in area of a postage stamp, it's actually quite a few millimetres thick, and one day we'd like our widget to be exactly the same as a postage stamp in area and in thickness, and you can just laminate it on.
To achieve this, she's developing a printable transistor. It's made from the same aluminum film used to make chip packaging. First, the pattern of the circuit is printed to act as a mask. Then it's dipped in acid. This etches away the unmasked metal, leaving the circuit in place.
It's a very low-cost way of patterning aluminium electrodes, and then we use those, spin coat on some semiconductor, bit of insulator, put a bit more metal on top, and we had working transistors.
In addition to doing her own research, Stone also uses technologies developed elsewhere, like this super-thin battery. By partnering with other companies, she hopes to turn her concepts into reality.
Next, we look at some fascinating people who are challenging our sense of self. Linda Geddes has more.
I'm at the Wellcome Collection in London at the launch of a major new exhibition that sets out to answer some big questions about identity. Who am I? Who are you? And how do you fit into society? The exhibit is made up of 8 rooms, each one focusing on a person that has influenced the concept of identity. This room is dedicated to Alec Jeffreys, the geneticist who developed DNA fingerprinting.
That extraordinary eureka moment, which is really, I think, quite unusual in the history of science, has led to all kinds of important legal and social abilities. The help with immigration cases, help with solving unsolved murders. That work of Jeffreys has been absolutely key to.
Another room challenges the definition of what it is to be a twin. The Hinch family is made up of 3 generations of twins, but the youngest were conceived through IVF.
They came from the same batch of eggs that were fertilised at the same time, but one of them was frozen, so that Emily was actually born 2 years after Charlotte. So you have this kind of extraordinary history of different kinds and different experiences of twinship in the family.
A room dedicated to April Ashley explores gender. She's one of the first people to have had a sex change operation back in 1960. But it wasn't until 1995 that she was legally recognised as a female in the UK. In the hallway, I enjoyed playing with a time delay mirror. An embedded camera films you as you stand in front of it. Then your image is displayed a few seconds later, sometimes blurring any movement.
You're seeing yourself in the recent past, and it's quite unnerving because unfortunately it kind of shows up all your nervous tics and your kind of strange movements. It's very revealing, and you kind of see yourself as other people probably see you.
I'm in the final room, sitting in the chair from the Big Brother house, where many a contestant has sat down and aired their feelings about their fellow housemates. But how honest are they, and how much are they trying to appeal to the feelings of the public? This is Linda Geddes for New Scientist.
And finally, many humans have tried to walk on water, including some at New Scientist, But could we have done a better job? Here's Sandrine to tell us more.
In 2003, New Scientist took part in a water walking competition in Edinburgh. We had to create a pair of floating shoes that could make a 40-meter journey in a swimming pool. There was a budget of $80 for the materials.
It's a very simple design, just your float, stand on the bottom so you've got good balance and flaps at the underneath, but I think we're clearly outclassed by some of the other designs.
21 teams competed in the sprint.
It's the New Scientist team, and the pilot is Michael.
Although it was a close race, we didn't win. Perhaps New Scientists should have taken inspiration from nature. Water striders, for example, seem to effortlessly skim across ponds.
If you're small enough, light enough, and have a big enough perimeter, then you can oppose your own body weight by pushing down on this surface tension and keep yourself up.
Unfortunately, humans are too large to use the surface tension trick. But larger animals have found ways to exploit water's buoyancy.
As you get bigger, what you have to start doing, if you're denser than water, is you're having to slap and throw something down. And things like basilisk lizards go about foot slapping on the water.
When a foot hits the water, a tiny water cavity is formed, which adds buoyancy. If lizards move fast enough, they can move on before the cavity collapses. But it doesn't work quite so well if you're much larger than a lizard.
That works fine for a particular size scale, but as you get bigger and bigger, all the timing goes wrong and trouble starts. So really the only way that something the size of me could possibly walk on water is to use Archimedes' displacement. We've got to displace some water. And at that stage, secretly, you're just being like a boring old boat.
So could we have made our shoe design more interesting? Usherwood thinks we should have taken inspiration from birds called storm petrels.
They're not exactly walking on water. They're effectively flying with their feet dangling in the water. And it's the nearest thing I know in biology to kites. So if you could have a great big kite and boat-like shoes, some combination of that would be good fun.
That's all for now, but if you have some free time over the holidays, then there are lots more videos to check out on our website. Find out about a new touchscreen that sees in 3D, or watch how an octopus uses a coconut shell when it feels threatened. Happy holidays and see you next year!